Hey there! Welcome back to my movie review, which is actually my new movie review. And today, of course, I'm going to talk about another John Woo flick, which I actually really enjoyed. I watched it last night. I really had fun. I really enjoyed it. And today, I'm gonna review and talk about Face Off. In order to trap him, he must become him, which was directed by John Woo, written by Mike Werb and Mike Colleary, was released on June 23rd in North America in the year 1997. And this was actually a huge hit. And Face Off has been loved and hated by many people. Um, Many of the people consider this movie one of John Woo's best American action films. My favorite and my best, in my opinion, my best American action film that John Woo did is also this film, Hard Target. Hard Target is my favorite John Woo film, my personal favorite action film of all time. And my second favorite movie that John Woo did is Broken Arrow. My third favorite film will be Hard Bullet, and my fourth favorite film is Paycheck. But I think that watching this film again will be my number five now because I really enjoyed this film. So I'm just gonna go with my history. When I was 14 years old, my neighbor, who was also my friend, he brought me Con Air on VHS, and at that time I was fascinated. With Nicolas Cage's film Con Air. And the Face Off was filmed from 1996 to 1997. And Con Air was released several weeks earlier before this movie was also released. And and I was so fascinated by Con Air that I asked my mom if she would would actually order me three movies that Nicolas Cage did, and that was The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off. And those three movies are considered by fans of Nicolas Cage his best trilogy. And I watched all three movies, and I watched this film non-stop as a kid. You know, I really watched this film non-stop as a kid. And as a kid, I thought this movie was better than than The Rock. But yeah, so I still have a VHS. Sorry, my mom passed away, but I still have the VHS tape. I have all three films, and I used to hate this film, but now rewatching it, I really liked it. I would say Face Off is actually a kick-ass, good action movie filled with sci-fi elements, but really good action film. I really enjoyed it for the time that it was. I have friends who hate this film. I hated this film. This guts. I hated this film. Cause last year I rented this film, but now it's not a rent. It's my movie. It's actually a movie review. I hated it. I hated the guts, and I'll explain why I hated it and what was the problem. This movie still has problems, but for the action scenes, I really did enjoy. This movie had no CGI, all practical done effects. They tried to do this movie being more realistic, so they made it. But yeah, I really had fun with Face Off. Now, huge fan. I'm actually a huge fan of Hard Target and Broken Arrow. Those are my top two favorite John Woo films. I actually will put Face Off on my number five now because I really enjoy Face Off. I actually, if you go on my channel, you see I reviewed a lot of John Woo films. I reviewed Broken Arrow twice, and a lot of his movies that I reviewed. And like I said, I'm gonna do once again Face Off. I used to have Face Off on Blu-ray because back in 2013 I got bored with the film. I wasn't fascinated, so I gave the Blu-ray to my ex-girlfriend now. So that Blu-ray disappeared, but recently I bought this Blu-ray from the Hugh from someone who was selling it, and so the picture quality is fantastic. The audio is great. I don't know why there's no special features. The only theatrical trailer. and also movie Showcase, it only shows action sequences from Face Off, but that is it. The Blu-ray doesn't have any special features at all. The Rock has tons of special features. I don't know why this movie doesn't. This disc doesn't from the Hook. But the picture quality is perfect. It's beautiful. The audio is perfect. They really did great. I think the Heidi 1080p in high definition is really beautiful. It's stunning. The picture quality is stunning. But now I'm just gonna show you my two posters. But actually, I think you can already see them, But I'll just show you with the camera so that you can see much better, And you can see this is Hard Target. Don't hunt what you can't kill. My favorite. I'm a huge fan of this film. It's my favorite John Woo film. And of course, you can see, and that's Broken Arrow. And I love John Travolta. My favorite John Travolta is definitely Broken Arrow, but love these two films so much, So yeah. But like I said, I love these two films so much. I love Broken Arrow and I love Hard Target to Death. Those are my top two favorite John Woo movies. I think Broken Arrow is underrated. John Travolta's favorite movie of mine will always be Broken Arrow because I love Broken Arrow. But I think the Face Off will be now my second favorite because John Travolta really pulled it off and he was really fantastic in my opinion. I think also I think also Face Off is a fantastic film. But Hard Target and Broken Arrow still surpass in my opinion. I think that Broken Arrow is very underrated because I love Broken Arrow to death. But yeah, let's go to the story. The story talks about Sean Archer, FBI agent, played by John Travolta. He's hunted down for a while now a known terrorist, Castor Troy, played by Nicolas Cage. So Castor Troy wants to get rid of his FBI agent man. So while on his day off, Sean Archer, Castor Troy goes with a sniper rifle, and he aims and he shoots, and he goes and shoots Sean Archer in the back, in thought that he killed Sean Archer. Excuse me. Excuse me. I apologize. I sneezed. In order, he goes, and shoots Sean Archer in the back because he thinks that he killed him, but instead the bullet missed and he killed his son. His 6-year-old son Michael. When you see the open scene with actually fake mustache, that was actually the trademark from John Woo's early movie The Killer, which Chow Yun-fat was also wearing the mustache. And Nicolas Cage was a huge fan of Chow Yun-fat. He really enjoyed and loved the film The Killer. So that was a trademark to Chow Yun-fat. They wanted to have the Chow Yun-fat in this movie, but they couldn't, so the other actress took her place for Chow Yun-fat. Chow Yun-fat had a conflict schedules between other films that time, so he couldn't be in this movie, knowing that they wanted to cast him. Because Chow Yun-fat was hard-boiled. He did 5 movies with John Woo. A Better Tomorrow 1 and 2, The Killer, Once a Thief, and Hard Boiled, which is actually my favorite Hong Kong movie of all time. My favorite action film from Hong Kong. But Face Off, I really enjoy. I really love this film. I really like this film. And my friends hate this film now. I used to hate it, but I don't. So now 6 years later, Sean Archer works nothing but he's now hunting down Castor Troy for years, 6 years passed away since he's tracking the non-terrorist Castle Troy. In the word Congress Center. I'm just gonna Congress Center. Castle Troy puts actually a bomb, actually a bomb, and in which in 6 days it's gonna blow off, on the 18th, on the date on the 18th, because he needs $10 million. So his brother Pollux Troy, played by Alessandro Nivola, he was in Jurassic Park 3, which I reviewed. He and his brother, they both went, he and his brother, they actually both went on the airport, because Pollux Troy, he paid a jet in which they would fly out of the country on the airport, but they actually got caught, they actually got detected, so now Archer with his SWAT team, he goes to the airport, and there's a great scene in the airport. And Sean Archer, he goes, in the showdown, he goes and captures Pollux and Castle Troy. They've been both caught, and during the climatic fight scene, he thought that he finally killed Pollux Troy, and finally Castle Troy, that he finally killed him, and he finally closed the case, because it was personal, and he wanted revenge for his son. And he finally closed down. But unaware is that before Castor went in a coma, he put the bomb somewhere in LA, and because Pollux Troy doesn't want to talk, and there's no other way, so Sean Archer agreed to go medical surgery. Undergoes radical surgery, which he changes his role, his face, and his identity, and he goes undercover in the prison, to find out from Castle Troy's brother where the bomb actually is, But while he's in prison, there's also while the real Sean Archer is in prison, Castle Troy wakes up from the nightmare, and he calls his bodyguards, which they kidnap Dr. Walsh, who transplant and change the identity with Sean Archer, and now real Castle Troy demands that he gives him a different identity of FBI agent Sean Archer. So now real Sean Archer, played by Nicolas Cage, he's actually unaware that all the evidence are now killed and burned and tortured, and the people that knew that he was undercover, especially his Sean Archer's friend Tito, were murdered. And when Sean finds out, he tries to kill Castor, but it's too late, because now John Travolta is Castor Troy, an FBI agent. So now real Sean Archer has nothing but in a nightmare, while Castor Troy defuses the bomb, becomes a hero, gets more money than ever, and he also goes and he's fooling around with Sean Archer's wife. Now Sean's pissed, and he has to find out how to escape, and he goes and escape from the prison. He helps from his cell inmates. He escaped the prison, and he vows to get revenge on Castor Troy, and he goes and contacts his old business partners, Dietrich and Sasha, and finds out that Castor has a son that doesn't care, and because Castor wants Sean and all his old business associate dead, he sends his team of FBI agents, which turns out a hit, but Sean and a few people escape. Now Sean vows to get revenge, and he also tells Eve, he convinces Eve that it's him with a different face and with the identity crisis, and Eve starts to believe, the story to the real Sean with his face as Castle Troy, while John Travolta is actually Castle Troy this time. So by the Mexican standoff and the finale in the church, of course, real Sean Archer now chases on the end. He goes and chases on the end. Castle Troy, and during the fight off, he finally on the end kills Castle Troy finally, and they all now find out that he's the real Sean Archer, and they change him back, In the end, he brings the son of Sasha and on the Dietrich, and because he lost son, he gains son, and of course the movie ends. And I really love the film, so I actually kind of improvised, so that I didn't have it back. But let's talk about the action sequences. They were all practical done, no CGI, no shaky cam. They did not want to use CGI, they wanted to use all practical effects so that it was real done. So the opening scene on the airport, now I talk about the airport. While on the airport, Nicolas Cage, I love that the music score by John Powell on Nicolas Cage, he wears like two golden guns, he also wears two golden guns. There were also there were 5 golden pistols that was that actually it was actually a custom pistol, Springfield M1911A1, which was with gold titanium, 45, which was actually a 45 pistol, but it was actually with gold titanium, and a weapon expert. A weapon coordinator, Robert Galotti, he made 5 golden pistols for the movie. So I love the open scene with Nicolas Cage with 2 golden pistols, 45, and at the airport when there is an undercover FBI agent, and they take off with they go and take off with the airplane, and the airplane sequence is fantastic. Because there's another trademark from Broken Arrow. John Travolta is driving General Humvee, the truck Humvee, just like he did in Broken Arrow. He drives Humvee in the airport, and he goes straight to the airplane. But when it turns out that the stewardess is an FBI agent, and he presses her as a hostage, and almost, John Travolta wants to crash, but he doesn't. He goes around, and I love the scene when he goes with the Humvee. No, he actually stops the Humvee. He goes on the helicopter. He goes on the wing. He makes sure that they can't fly out. And he destroys the wing, goes and destroys the engine with his gun, bam, 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 with his 6-hour gun, 6-hour pistol, 9.9 millimeter, 6-hour pistol, he destroys the engine, and Nicolas Cage says to the pilot, take off. He says I can't. He shoots him. he goes on the another hangar in the airfield. And I love the action scene in which Nicolas Cage jumps, with two guns and shoots the FBI, like some guy blows in the air, great practical effect, blows in the air. He goes and shoots all the FBI agents. And Bullets Try too, and I love when John Travolta runs, jumps on a police car, goes and fires some bullets. They catch Pollux. He uses another gun, against Castle Troy. That there's like an engine open, and he goes and shoots. He shoots he goes and shoots on Nicolas Cage. I love the action sequence at the flip side that John Travolta does, and he says his man says down, he goes and shoots the guy, they both shoot each other. And then on the engine, John Travolta defeats him, and I love when Nicolas Cage goes on the knees, and he tries to stab John Travolta, and I love John Travolta's martial arts kick, he goes he goes and kicks his knife and kicks him. I love that flying kick, that John Travolta does in the guy, and then he uses the engine and he flies, and gets and he hits the wall. That was actually a stunt, man, because it was a dangerous stunt, but I wish it were Nick Cage. I love that scene. That's a great, cool shot scene. The opening scene on the airport, the action sequence really does work. I love the prison escape when Nicolas Cage. There's also Thomas Jane is also in this movie. And he tries and he wants to escape. He starts a riot. He kicks the guard. I want a cigarette, and he goes and kicks the guy, or after the fight scene between Nicolas Cage and the actor who played Dubois, love the fight scene. I love Nicolas Cage's fight scenes. I think he really did a good job, and when they try to fry him, they took those steel boots off, and they tried to fry him, and he says, Dubois, I did not have sex with your wife. I did not have sex with your sister. I'm pretty sure they love you and they want to go back. So why don't you let's get out of here? And Dubois goes and kicks everyone. She says out. I love that they go kicks everyone. Says they're climbing. I don't know why we're stunts man for climbing, but they go climbing the on the balcony, and there's a lot of fire scenes. I love when Nick Cage runs and flip side grabs the gun and shoots the guard in the legs. I love that scene. He doesn't kill him, he's a good guy. He doesn't kill him. He tries to save Dubois, but sadly, Dubois falls down. He tries to save him. I love that scene. He goes, on the he runs away out of facility and finds that he's around the sea. And there's a helicopter, and like with the guy with M60 goes and fires on Nicolas Cage. And I love the scene when the stuntman jumps off, the platform, the whole rig, he jumps off in the water. And that was really a cool shot, cool scene. The stuntman really jumped in the water. I don't know how long feet was, but a really good stunt. I love that scene. The other scene was when the other action sequence was actually in Dietrich's hideout. When Nicolas Cage goes, in Dietrich's hideout, and like FBI agents, surrounding the place. And I love, Nika Savita's as Dietrich goes, cops. I hate cops. He uses a shotgun, shoots the bad guy, the cop who's on the line. I love that scene. I love when Nicolas Cage uses that flying kick, kicks the SWAT team and goes and hits in the head. I love that scene, Or when John Travolta tries to shoot, I don't know why he tried to shoot Sasha and his son, but Dietrich put a bullet and he dies, and that time Nicolas Cage gets pissed, grabs the Uzi, goes and fires John Travolta. They're actually in front of the mirror, and John Travolta says they just shoot each other, and they go in front of the mirror and shoots the flying bullets, a slow motion bullets. I love that in Nicolas Cage jumps, goes fires, and John Travolta falls down, goes fire each other. I love that fight scene. Nicolas Cage tries to escape. Pollux Troy, who knows for the identity, when John Travolta, swings. I forgot to mention, on the airport, John Travolta also swings just like Van Damme did in Hard Target. He swings and fires with the gun. The same scene was also trademark from Hard Target. The same scene that John Woo used, In this movie, then in this scene, after 1 hour 20 minutes later, Nicolas Cage swings and catches Paul Troy. Paul Troy falls down very 8 feet below, through the roof, and he gets killed. And when John Travolta is smiling, he sees that his brother's dead. The guy, this guy who has a rocket launcher, he fired on Nicolas Cage but misses him. Great practical effect explosion. The guy says, "Sir, why you're sad? It's just Paul Troy." He goes, shoots at the fucking head, And it was really sad that John Travolta's brother is now being killed. And this is the first time that I see Sean Archer killing someone, And John Travolta, like I said, Castle Troy kills a lot of people. He goes and kills that woman at the airport. I wasn't fan of it. Or he grabs, he's dressed as a priest and grabs that girl. I'll get more into those problems that I'll say. But now I'm talking about action sequences that I really like. The final sequence, the final shot was in the church, and that's another trademark, because the killer, the final climatic scenes were actually in the church. The dose, that's another trademark by John Woo, because there were those in The Killer, in Hard Boiled, in Hard Target. There were those. I don't think they were those in White Dose, in Broken Arrow, but they were those in Hard Target, Hard Boiled, and The Killer. They were all those in it, White Dose, and that's another trademark by John Woo. And I love when John Travolta shows up, in the church and goes to the store and says, he's still having fun. And Nicolas Cage grabs the gun, shoots the guy. John Travolta flies and dodges bullets. I love that scene, great climatic scene. And it says he's still having fun, And he's been now like surrounded. It's like a Mexican standoff. And Travolta aims his gun. Cage aims his gun. His gunman also, his mercenary also aims gun on Cage. So Sasha shows up, and takes the gun, and says, "Hey, baby," and I love it. John Travolta says, "Sasha, what the fuck you doing here?" Jeez, Archer, I just got bored, so showed up. Sasha, this is Archer, I'm Troy, and I'm bored, And another guy shows up and says, "Get your hands down." And I love when John Travolta's like smiley. I love John Travolta, in this movie. And there's also, Joanne Allen, played by Joanne Allen. She plays Eve, on Archer's wife in the middle. And I love when Sasha pulls her over, and Nicolas Cage grabs like 2 guns, and goes shoots the 2 bad guys and see all the flying bullets. And Sasha saves him, and Eve grabs the chair, goes and hits John Travolta in the back, by stopping him. And Sasha then, says, don't do that. Our kid, became one of us. And Nick Cage, he goes after John Travolta. John Travolta runs away, kills 2 FBI agents, And this is the second time Sean Archer kills two hoodlums, 2 bad guys. He goes and shoots and kills them. I love that scene. There's also the interrogation scene, when Sean Archer interrogations Dietrich, punches him on the floor, goes with the gun, when he says, how's your dead son, and tells him about the date. I love that scene. So yeah, John Travolta arrives, goes and kills those 2 FBI agents, He goes on the marina, kills with Heckler Koch, goes and with Heckler Koch, MPK, on the boat, he goes, shoots the guy, the owner, steals the boat, and also forgot to mention, John Travolta and Cage are fighting each other, and Jamie, the daughter of Archer shows up, and they both try to confuse her. She goes and shoots the blonde man, she shoots Cage instead of Travolta. Travolta says, no, my daughter will shoot so bad, and he goes and Peaches holds her hostage, and Cage saves her. I love that, and Eve tells her the story, that's actually different. She tells the amazing story to the surgeons, to everyone, and Travolta runs away with the boat scene. I love the boat scene, practical done. I really enjoy the boat scene. They both fire with the guns at each other, they hit each other. On the harbor, Travolta grabs the gun, shoots the propane, the gas. I love that scene when it explodes, the practical effect explosions. I forgot to mention, during the prison escape, Nicolas Cage grabs acid, and shows the guards and shoots with one bullet and blows the acid into the guards. I love that scene too. That's another great action scene. And when Travolta and Cage are battling on the water, they both crashed, and caused another explosion, in the boat. Of course, there were stuntmen because it was dangerous stunt. They land at the floor. The boat falls out, explodes, practical effect explosions, Then they both fight each other, and Cage grabs harpoona, fires the guy, and Travolta grabs the harpoona and says, every time you're gonna wake up, you're gonna see this face, and grabs the glass and tries to cut his face, and and Cage goes and kicks him, and stabs at the guy. And that time it's over, he's actually died. He keeps saying, ready for the big baby, and he gets killed, And and by the finale, the guy shows up, Archer, alright, and said, how you call me? He call you Archer, sir. And they go and took the scar away, and he has no surgery. He goes back, to John Travolta. I really love that, So now, the problems for this film, let's just say cons for this film. My problems and cons of this film is Nicolas Cage over the top's performance. He's on drugs, he shows all those face. He's all those face. I didn't like how he was treating women, touching them in the ass. I still have problems that he was touching for the butt. He went and killed that poor agent, he shortened, and he's with Peach, I can Peach his for hours. Where he keeps singing, I'm ready for the big ride, baby. I was like, what the fuck, over the top performance. That's really piece of shit performance by Cage. That kind of really fucked up the movie, in my opinion, Or in that cell, when John Travolta visits him, and he goes and starts grabbing for neck, tries to strangle, and says, die! Like a little bitch, he was screaming like a little bitch. I mean, that is really shitty performance by Nicolas Cage. I'm sorry, but it was over the top. It's still kinda Nicolas Cage. Those scenes kinda ruined the film. I'm me. He's on drugs. Why the fuck is that fucking drugs? Another problem by Nick Cage. Nick Cage's real problems, in my opinion. The other problems that beside Nicolas Cage's over the top terrible performance, another problem that I had was also with the story. I didn't I like the open scene when John Travolta is a good guy, Nick Cage was a bad guy. But then when they reverse those scenes, those kind of really are cons, and not believable. They should just stay Travolta being a good guy, Cage being bad guy, but they wanted to do that, so that's one of the reasons why it became one of the best action films in people's opinion, not in my opinion. But that shouldn't be. Also, when Nick Cage and Travolta went in the plastic surgery, first off, yeah, that would be possible. But they wouldn't be in a few hours because I researched last year. And first off, there's no lasers. There's no lasers, like they use in the movie. There's no lasers. Second, it will take 3 months if both the actors won't actually learn how to speak, how to walk. They could change their identities, not in few hours, not in a day or 2 days. It will take them 3 months at least. Till they will actually change the identities, the plastic surgery, the faces, Second, when Nicolas Cage wakes up, without the mask, I think that in few hours he will die because he put the bandana out of his face. He was actually infected, because face without skin can't survive. There will be infections in hours and he will die in few hours, So another problem that they did with they actually fucked up again, I think that Nick Cage should have wear a bandana in it, because without face, there's skin, the face without skin can't survive. He will get infected by viruses, diseases, and he will die slowly. He will die slowly. That's another problem that I had in the film. Another problem was when stunt double from the prison escape, jumps off the oil rig in the water. First off, I don't think that in real life someone could have survived that fall. And he would, how did he even get to the shore? Because I think he would be cold or he would drown. That's another problem, because he had no boat, no backup, no escape plan, And that's another problem that I had with the film. That's another con that was conned by Hollywood, But yeah, it's a Hollywood film, it's a fiction, so it's possible. But in real life, Sean Archer wouldn't survive that kind of jump. And even if he would survive the jump, unharmed, I don't think because the water was definitely so cold, I don't think even though he had no, he was barefoot, I don't think that he could have swim so much on the shore, and even he would, Coast Guard would have found him. There was no boat, no explanation how he got to the shore so fast. So that's another con and another problem with this film. That's still kind of suffers from this film. But the action sequences saves this film. I really enjoyed the action sequences, Let's see if there are any problems. Nicolas Cage, our top performance, like how he treats women, I hate that. Or the scenes like no explanation how Nicolas Cage saved himself, after he escaped from prison. The surgery, transplantation, because that this impossible with lasers that they would change the faces in few hours. It will take 3 months at least, if they will walk. Another problem I had when Nicolas Cage wakes up, Castle Troy wakes up from the coma, why there was no any guard around it, why there was no guard? They should know he's a dangerous man. Why he was not chained, he's supposed to be with handcuffs, chained, and he wasn't. Why he wasn't chained? Why there was no guards? He's a dangerous terrorist. He could wake from a coma anyway. They should do that. They didn't. This movie has a lot of mistakes and flaws. That's one of the reasons why people hate this film. And those are the real cons that are problems. Now let's go to the cast. John Travolta is the only reason why this movie is great. I love John Travolta. Nick Cage was beside that he did an action scenes. He was terrible at acting performance. But I like his performance, that he was a good guy, later turned to a good guy when he said to Sasha, I will make sure that Sean Archer leaves you alone. And I like that scene. That's a cool scene. But John Travolta is the best of the film, I actually even though he was a bad guy, I was still rooted for him, Or when in Broken Arrow, John Travolta goes and kicks the guy with a lamp in the neck and says, hush, hush. In this movie, he goes and kicks his superior boss, and makes sure that he has a heart infarct. That's how he kills his SIM. Castle Troy kills him. I like that scene there. But John Travolta is the best of the film. Even as a bad guy, I enjoy John Travolta's performance. Gina Gershon from Red Heat, Out for Justice, Showgirl, she did a great job as Sasha Hassler. She did a great job. Nika Savetes as Dietrich Hassler. Her brother was great. He was how you call it? He actually, Nika Savetes shaved his head. And like I said, I reviewed his movie, which he was in Blind Fury, and he shaved his head, and he surprised John Woo. John Woo wanted an image, but he shaved his head, so he put him in the movie, so that was awesome. Nika Savetes, I enjoy as Dietrich, when he helps Archer, doesn't know he's Archer. Colin Fiores, Dr. Malcolm Walsh was awesome. Robert Wisdom's Tito Biondi, friend of Sean Archer, John Travolta was awesome. He was great. Cici H. Pounder, she played Hollis Miller, was awesome. Chris Bauer was the one who played Dubois. He was awesome. We also have Thomas Jane, this movie with glasses. Didn't recognize him, but he was Burke Hicks. He was helping Sean Archer, like that. In this movie, we also do have Jamie Denton. He was who plays Bass, an FBI agent. He was the same year. He was later he was cast in The Pretender, and the superior Victor Lazaro, Harvey Prestel. He passed away in 2009, so rest in peace. He's no longer with us. Harvey Prestel, who played Victor Lazaro, the superintendent of and superior officer and boss of Sean Archer. He was also cast in The Pretender. Both the actors were in The Pretender that time. He played Mr. Parker, father of Miss Parker, Andrea Parker, in that TV series. Jamie Lyle, he turns out later in the show, he was half brother of Miss Parker. I think was Mr. Lyle. He played, I think he was Mr. Lyle. James Denton. Dominique Swain, she played Jamie Archer, daughter of Sean Archer. She was great, I forgot to mention that scene, but I love it. She was dressed, as a Halloween, and her boyfriend tries to rape her, and John Travolta goes, breaks the door, kicks the guy's ass, and he gives her like smokes and says, no one dressed like a Halloween, no one wants to rape her. Do you have a protection? You mean a condom? And you see, I didn't see it, but Travolta grabs a knife. I love that scene. And gives her a knife, says, next time, stabs her in the neck, and twists the knife, so the wound doesn't close, and he gives her a knife, and she goes and stabs with the knife Travolta in the leg and twists it. I love that scene. But yeah, Dominique Swain as Jamie Archer did a good job. She was great. The cast, in my opinion, did work well, especially John Travolta. And even Nick Cage with his over-the-top shitty performance, like die, or I'm ready for the big ride, baby. I hated that scenes, That was kind of really stupid and ridiculous. But beside action sequences, he did a good job, But the action sequences, the airport, the action sequences, some guy's been ear blow off, or Nicolas Cage grabs a shotgun, blows the guy to pieces. I love that scene with the shotgun. or he turns around, goes shoots the FBI agents. I love that scene, and John Travolta goes down and goes shoots the guy. I love the airport scenes, or when Travolta swings just like Van Damme did, trademark, goes shoots on the bad guys. I love that scene. John Travolta did a great job in my opinion. I love the music score by John Powell, great music score. John Woo did a great direction by John Woo. My biggest problem is another problem is that it's kind of way too long. It's 2 hours, 18 minutes, kind of way too long. But I enjoy the action sequences that are in it. The fight sequence between Travolta and Cage, I really love that, So yeah, I love that scene. So now let's go to the cool facts. Originally, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were in mind to play the lead roles because they were both competitors in the 80s, on screen, which kills more people on the screen. But when John Woo came on board, he to direct, he decided that John Travolta and Nicolas Cage would be more suited to the roles. Nicolas Cage at first didn't want to accept the role, but when he finds out, because he didn't want to play the bad guy, but when he finds out that he's also the good guy, he accepts the role immediately. Nicolas Cage and John Travolta spent 2 weeks together before filming to learn how to play each other. It was really hard. I think 2 weeks they spent each other learning how to play each other. It was really hard. It wasn't an easy task. It was kind of really hard. So that's one of the reasons why they try to do more realistic. John Woo recruited actual convicts, to play prisoners. He wanted the real people, to play convicts, so he recruits them an ex-convicts for the prison scenes. A lot of people caught a flu while filming prison scenes because of the dirty conditions there. So that was awesome. So that was actually awesome. Face Off was actually it was actually open in North America 27 June 1997. Earned $23 million on its opening, where in ranking ranking number 1 in the domestic box office. Budget cost this movie $80 million. Worldwide, $245 million. So it made a lot of money. I love the soundtrack. Don't Lose Your Head by INX. I love that song. When John Travolta is driving in the car and pass, Joanne Allen. I forgot to mention Joanne Allen, as if she did a great job. The producers, the studio wanted some other actress, but John Woo fought for Joanne Allen that she was cast in the film. He fought for her. The weapons were used well. Great fight scenes, great weapons, like Nick Cage carries pistol cast on Springfield M1911A1, gold titanium 45, 6-hour P236, 9.9mm is carried by John Travolta, Sean Archer. Also Archer and Troy, they both used Beretta 92 FS, which is trademarked by John Woo. A lot of Chow Yun-Fat was carrying Beretta. Van Damme was carrying Beretta. I think that they actually carried, a lot of Berettas. Smith & Wesson model 686, was Archer on the opening scene when he had 2 barrels, Heckler & Koch was also automatic weapon 9.9mm, was SWAT team in the Dietrich place, or when Sasha grabs the the automatic weapon and kicks one of the FBI agents. She also used that in the scene, so that was also awesome. Also try on the boat scene, Hughes Hacker Koch, played by John Travolta, did a good job. The weapons were used well in this movie. They were actually used well. The action sequences, all practical done. I love that there's no CGI used in this film. I love that there's no CGI used in this film. I love the boat chase sequence. The boat chase sequence actually on the finale they was meant for hard target, but Van Damme did not want to do it. So they used horse riding, but they found out that Van Damme cannot horse riding, so there was a stuntman during the chase sequence on a horse. But there are two scenes with Van Damme in it, But the both scenes were meant for hard target, but Van Damme did not want to do it. So John Woo used it for this film. I love the boat chase sequence. So what? There are some numbers. No movie is perfect. There are also the chase sequences are actually really good in my opinion. Nick Cage and John Travolta did a good performance. Outstanding performance by John Travolta, his best performance, but still my favorite is Broken Arrow. Always gonna be Broken Arrow from John Travolta. I'll say Face Off will be my second favorite. I watched as a kid. I rented the VHS to my friends, borrowed them. So yeah, still is gonna be my second favorite John Travolta film, and now it's my fifth favorite John Woo film. It actually used to be The Killer, but I really enjoyed The Killer. And now for John Woo, I reviewed a lot of his films. So far, I reviewed Hard Target twice, Broken Arrow, Mission Impossible 2, which sucks. Face Off is better than Mission Impossible 2. I love the scene, the Humvee scene on the airport with John Travolta, because he was driving Humvee in Broken Arrow, so I really love that. Anyway, that's my review on Face Off, another John Woo film. Thanks for watching. Take care and have a good day, and I'll see you soon for a new videos. Anyway, I'm out. Peace.